Hey guys, it's Destiny, and today I wanted to talk about Hanya and why she looks like an incredible 4-star from what we've seen so far, what she could possibly do when it comes to teams, and also why I think Hanya could be a step into the future when it comes to character kits in Star Rail. Just my personal thoughts as well on Hanya as a character. If you guys enjoy videos like these, make sure to subscribe to see more, and also leave a like to get Hanya in just one 10 poll. The source is just to trust me on this one. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. First of all, I have to be real with you guys, Hanya's design is easily top tier in my opinion. She looks very mysterious and also a bit mature as well, which I'm a huge fan of. Her animations are super cool as well. I don't know if anyone noticed, but her nails are also painted black, which is a nice touch, since I love when characters have little additions like that to their design, and as someone who loves getting their nails done, I just love the additional touch. Okay though, that's enough about me simping over Hanya's design. Her kit looks pretty cool, and she appears like she'll be a skill point positive support, which is pretty nice since I know my Zila loves her skill points for breakfast. What's pretty cool about Hanya though is mainly her skill, as it applies burden to an enemy, and this can allow your team to recover skill points. In the live stream, it didn't show how many skill points Hanya's skill will be able to get back, but there are a few hints on how her skill will operate. The first thing I noticed was that Hanya has 2 charges above her health bar, and when Dill Pickle attacked the Burden State's enemy, it regenerated skill points and also resulted in one of Hanya's charges going away. Which this means it's very likely Hanya will have 2 charges for each Burden State she does with her skill. Another indicator was when Don Hong Il attacks the enemy inflicted with burden, the burden symbol above their head started flashing like it was halfway full, and then it went completely full and the skill point was granted. This could possibly mean that you may only need 2 attacks to actually fulfill the burden state in order to get that skill point. It kind of just depends on how much a singular attack fills up that status above their head, but it did look like it filled it up from halfway to full. So it might be very possible that it only takes 2 attacks. We just have to wait and see, but that's what I'm personally thinking. Plus, another bonus of the burden state is that allies will be able to deal increased damage to whichever enemy is inflicted with burden, which me personally, that deer boss is going to feel the true wrath of my Hanya and Zila combo, with the skill points, the additional damage being dealt to the enemy, and so on. Another bonus though is that Hanya's ultimate, which has a really mysterious and cool animation, will increase the speed and attack of an ally, and of course we don't know fully by how much or how it fully operates, but this bonus is pretty nice overall. Also, her technique will inflict burden on a random enemy at the start of battle, so this is a nice way to start the battle off with an enemy being inflicted with burden immediately. So if we were to sum up what Hanya does from what we've seen so far, she gives back skill points. From what it looked like from the live stream, 1 skill equals 2 skill points. So positive 1 skill point. She gives attack and speed to a single ally with her ultimate, and when enemies have the burden state, the team can deal more damage to that enemy. Plus, she's a physical character, which physical has one of the strongest breaks in the game, and as we've seen many discuss break Luca and break Sushang, so maybe Hanya can also be considered a break supporter as well. That potential is also there, which could be pretty cool. Overall though, I think her kit's really nice, and like our other Harmony characters, she has great benefits that can fit the needs of many teams. I think Hanya will be incredible for teams, but I did want to talk about that in particular in a little bit. I first wanted to talk about her potential and how she rivals our current Harmony characters, and also how I believe this shapes the future for Harmony characters and also the future of Star Rail characters. So when it comes to potential, I'm personally a huge fan of Hanya's kit. Her ability to regenerate skill points with burden, the buffs she gives an ally, plus the ability to deal more damage to an enemy with the burden inflicted onto them is really strong. Our other Harmony characters also give really good buffs as well, but I think Hanya could be excellent on a skill point hungry team, as an additional skill point could be used for more damage potential with a character like Don Hong Il, for example. Zila can take advantage of the extra skill points as well, and Xingshui as well loves skill points. And really any character that wants a bunch of skill points plus the benefits from the buffs that Hanya can give the main DPS of the team with our ultimate can be really great. Now for how she rivals other Harmony characters. Other than the skill points, the main Harmony character I can think of to compare can be Asta, since they both give attack and speed. The only thing though is that Hanya only gives it to a single ally, while Asta gives it to the whole team. But since Hanya has the burden effect she could put on an enemy, that can allow Hanya to be better than Asta on some teams. It just ultimately comes down to what you're fighting and the synergy of Hanya on the team versus the synergy of Asta on the team. And of course, if the team would value speed and attack on the entire team versus having that burden state with the skill points, so it ultimately just comes down on what the team would like the most. As for characters like Bronya, Tingyun, Yukong, and so on, I feel like it's a little less comparable, but Hanya can definitely rival the others in putting her on a team because of her utility. And by the utility, I'm mainly referring to the skill points, of course. Bronya, as we know, unless she's E1, and also Yukong, unless she's E6, use up skill points for the buffs that they provide. And Tingyun is a bit more on the skill point positive side as well, Hanya also being skill point positive from what we've seen so far, but this can allow you to use double harmony characters possibly smoother because of burden. Hanya and a Tingyun pairing can maybe be pretty strong when it comes to skill points being readily available, or even Hanya and maybe like a debuffer. I'm sure there could be plenty of options. She doesn't replace another harmony character in my personal opinion, but rather adds more versatility to our roster of harmony characters. And I think that's pretty cool. Which this is also what I wanted to discuss before we got into teams, and I'd love to know what you guys think about this as well. I've noticed that as we keep getting these new characters, the kits keep getting more and more diverse for sure, and some kits even being more on the niche side, but being really good in that niche. For example, Huo Huo is abundance, but also has harmony traits at only E0. Wu Xuan is also a great sustainer. She's a preservation class character, but she also has harmony-like aspects to her kit with the crit rate buff, for example, for allies. And even Topaz, even though she's the hunt class, she has a debuff to apply onto enemies, which is proof of debt, and this allows our follow-up attackers, including herself, to deal more damage. Now Hanya, who has burden, which is unique when it comes to our current harmony class, and the debuff of burden can allow you to think of it as like a nihility plus harmony combination in a sense. I've noticed a lot of characters have been blending together aspects of other classes into their main role, which seems to be mainly a team buffing aspect or enemy debuffing aspect. So harmony or nihility-like aspects respectively. And I think since Huo Huo and Hanya also have these aspects, this is something I believe we can fully expect with future character kits. And I believe it begins the era or even future, if you will, of the characters in Honkai Star Rail. I personally think this is really exciting, and I'm sure Rune Mei will also have really interesting twists to her kit, and I'm very excited to see what she will offer too. And even dr.ratio, I'm sure, will be able to provide some diversity as well. Let me know what you guys think though when it comes to the diversity or versatility even of our characters we've been getting so far, or do you think they could be even more diverse? Just let me know in the comments down below. Now that I've talked about Hanya's kit though, and what I think about her in comparison to our other harmony characters, and also the feature aspects of how character kits have been going so far, I wanted to discuss just a few team ideas when it comes to Hanya, just general ideas. I mentioned that Hanya will be great with skill point hungry teams and just overall can give pretty universal buffs to an ally, and of course the burden mechanic is really good as well. Since Hanya is our first physical character, this Lycone comes to mind, which will allow you to increase the damage of physical characters on your team, which can be pretty good when it comes to buffing characters like Argenti, Clara, Sushang, and much more. This Lycone is commonly used on characters like Asta to buff up a character, for example, like Himiko, or even this Lycone being on a character like Tingyun to buff up a character like Kafka or Jingyuan. Of course though, harmony Lycones have a bunch of variety, and I'm sure Lycones that give energy will be really beneficial as well, since having a high uptime on her ultimate will be a pretty nice bonus. I can see her also benefiting characters like Dan Honggael, Zila, even characters like Jing Liu, who are way more skill point neutral in their kits, can benefit from the burden effect because of the additional skill points you'll be able to generate, which in my opinion makes Hanya an awesome choice for anyone to pick up and place on their teams due to how universal she appears to be. That'll be all though for my thoughts on Hanya. Let me know what you guys think about her. Is she secretly the star of 1.5, or are you guys not the biggest fan of her? I've already shared how I feel about her. I think she's awesome. And if you guys did enjoy this video, let me know more things you'd like me to discuss. And also make sure to subscribe for more Star Rail content from me. Leave a like to support the video. And like always, I hope you all have a great one. Peace.